Good morning, everybody. Like I sent out an email last night saying I've received a few emails about students being confused on slope-intercept form. And I know that if you did not take Math 7-8 last year, you're probably more confused than students who did. So I'm just going to go through the assignments that I assigned for slope-intercept form last week. And that way you can revise your work, correct it, finish it, do whatever you need to do so that we can keep moving on. So last Thursday, I assigned you this video. And if you did not watch this and take notes, that was the first thing you were supposed to do. So you are probably more confused. You need to do that first, okay? And then there's a Desmos activity. So I'm gonna pull that up. And this one was the practice 201 intro to linear equations. So after watching the video, you should have been able to see that you learned there's a slope and a y-intercept that are in the y equals mx plus b form. So what we want is two columns here in the card sort. And you need to do all of the things that are talking about the slope, all of the things that are equivalent to slope or refer to slope go in the slope column, and everything that is matches with or discusses y-intercept or is y-intercept. So for example, the b in the equation represents the y-intercept, the m in the equation represents slope. And you should know that with the notes that you took, because in that video it explained the slope-intercept form of an equation and what each part represented. So that's how you do that. And just think about the rest of these. And then we can, we'll be discussing these quickly when I return. The next screen. All you've got to do is move the dots to where these points are. So this one is 0 and 3. You can see that it's here because it's on the y-axis. So x is 0. It's not moving left or right. It's staying here. X is 0. X is always the first value in a table, and y is the second one. So x is 0, y is 3. X is 1. See how it's 1 right here? This is a 1 for x. And y is 4.5. So you just move that up to 4.5. X is 2. Y is 6. So this goes up to 6. And it should be forming a straight line. It is linear. It forms a straight line on a graph. The next one is x is 3, y is 7.5. So at this point, you should be making the connection on each time that the y value, let me annotate here. Each time that this is going up by 1, why isn't this working? It's increasing by 1. How is this, what's the relationship here each time? So you see it's going up 1.5. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. So when x is 4, y is going to be 9 because that's 1.5 more. So now we can move this where it needs to be. And it should be at 9. And again, you should be seeing a straight line in your graph. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means the slope is 1.5. So you can put that as 1.5 or 3/2, which is 1.5, because the fraction form is how we're going to be seeing slope more frequently, but either one would be fine. What's the y-intercept? Where does the line cross the y-axis? It crosses at, it crosses at 3. So the y-intercept is 3, which means the equation would be y equals, we need y equals mx plus b, right? Let me write that up here. Well, I'll just put it here. Here's our slope-intercept form. So our equation for this specific line and these points would be m's the slope, that's 3/2. So 3/2 x, y and x stay, okay, because they're changing. The x values change and that makes the y values change. And then b is 3, +3. So if it was crossing at a negative value, we would put the negative value here. The constant would be negative. The constant is the y-intercept. The slope is the coefficient, okay? And that's how we connect that. So hopefully that's making more sense to you. This one, be careful, okay? These values are changing. They're not just going by 1 each time. It skips from 2 to 5. So your job is to find the pattern. When x is 0, y is 12 here. When x is 1, y is 9. So you can see it's decreased by 3. And look, it's going downhill. 2 is 6 for y. And so if it's decreasing by 3 each time, what's it going to be when x is 5? Well, you can see here that the last point is a 4. We need to go 3 down from that, right? So it was at 0. When x is 4, y is 0. So when x is 5, y is -3. Because it would go down 3 units. Each time it decreases, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. Let me annotate this real quick. The slope can be found going from point to point, down 3 over 1. Whoa, down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. So it's down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1. That's the slope, -3. Okay, so slope is -3. Y-intercept, where does it cross the y-axis? At 12. When x is 0, y is 12. That's the y-intercept. And it'll tell you if you're doing a good job there. Okay, so let's see. So in this one, you're working backwards, okay? It's giving you the equation. It's telling you what the slope is. It's 2. It's telling you where the y-intercept is. It's 1.5. So when x is 0, there's your y-intercept, 1.5. From there, you're going to multiply by 2. You're moving up 2 over 1, okay? Don't actually scratch what I said. Technically it's multiplying by 2, but that's the x, and then you still have to add 1.5. So the pattern is just to go up. Actually, no, we need to do that. So let's see. 0 and 1.5. Let's get that point put on there first. When x is 1, y is, we have to work this out. Okay, we're solving for in here. So when x equals 1, what is y? So we're going to substitute a 1 in for our x value. And we're going to figure out the right side to see what the output is. What is y? 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1.5 is 3.5. So this one is 3.5. Okay, now let's do when y, or when x is 3, because that's the next point right here. And actually we need it when x is 2, but we'll do this one first. So we're just going to do the operations on the right. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1.5 is 7.5. Now, what does that mean when y is, or when x is 2? I don't know why I keep saying y. Let's plug the 2 in. When x is 2, what is y? Let's see. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1.5 is 5.5. So we would go right here, 5.5 when x is 2. We do the same thing for the 4. Plug the 4 in. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1.5 is 9.5. So this one should be up here, 9.5. And then what if it's 5.5? Well, let's plug that in. 2 times 5.5 now is what x equals here. Well, 2 times 5.5 gives us 11. And 11 plus 1.5 is 12.5. So right here, inside here, we should have 12.5 when x is 5.5. So our slope, it's already shown to us, this is slope intercept form, so it's already showing us that the slope is 2, right? It's right here, slope and y-intercept, slope-intercept form. Y-intercept is 1.5. And putting all that in should show you that you got a good job and you're ready to move on. So I'm going to go to the next one. Nice thing is this is a video, so you can pause, rewind, rewatch as many times as you need to in order for it to make sense. Okay, let's see who's correct here. Kaylin believes y equals 3x plus 7 represents the points. So is the slope 3? Is it increasing by 3 when x is going up by 1? Yes. Is the y-intercept at 7? When x is 0, that's our y-intercept. Uh-oh, this is 7 when x is 1. So that means that Kaylin is not correct. Well, if we went backwards here, it's going down 3, down 3, down 3, down to 3 to get to the 0 for x, we would have a 4. So the y-intercept is actually 4. That's what Bernice believes. So this is good. Bernice has it right, the correct slope and the correct y-intercept. What about Marcus? Well, Marcus is not in y equals mx plus b form. So what we need to do is put it there. Okay, we need to rearrange it. We need to solve for y, okay? We need y isolated to be in y equals mx plus b form, which is slope-intercept. So our first step, this is why we did work with literal equations, is to subtract 3x. From both sides, we get negative y, because that's still a negative y, equals negative 3x minus 4, right? Well, we should know that now if we divide this negative 1 out, it's going to change the sign of everything, okay? It's taking the opposite. So we get y equals positive 3x plus 4. And that is what Bernice has. So these two are equivalent. They are the same line. Okay, so that's how you do that. Sometimes it's not always solved in the way that you need it to be in order to compare. Just like you can't compare two fractions if they're not out of the same pieces, right? You really need them out of the same pieces to know how many you have out of those pieces. Well, it's the same thing. You need to rearrange it to where it's set up in the same format in order to compare them. Okay, so that was that lesson. That should have helped a lot. I shouldn't need to go through the next two completely, but I will show you in writing the equation. This looks pretty good. Most of you have got the hang of this. So the other thing I'm going to ask is that you work with people who are struggling in your group, but make sure they have their notes first, okay? If they're not doing the video and notes and trying to make sense of things first and just want to be told exactly what to do, they're not learning anything and it's wasting your time. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. And then we should be good. So these are, oh, is this Ice Climber? No, this is an Ice Climber activity though. These are like you know, like when people do the skiing matches and stuff. So these are like the little poles, the little gates that they have to make it through, right? So we can do, this is what's nice about this. There's a lot of equations that we can do. The best way to figure this out is to, you know, like pick a point. Like I know this is in between these two triangle gates. Maybe the next point I want to do is right here. I want to find points that are on a perfect intersection of lines, okay? Perfect intersection of grid lines. And then I want to go, you know, right here maybe, right? Because this, see how this is forming a line? Plus this is going to make it right through the red circles, gates, okay? So I've got some points here. Now I'm just going to figure out my slope. Well, my slope is going from, I just pick 2 points. Just pick 2 points and find the slope. Move from one to the other. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. So up 3, over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the slope could be 3/7. Now, the only thing is here, you might have to play with this a little because when you draw a line, like look, it's not quite, I mean, it's not going to match that point up there. It fits, but the other thing is you can't see a perfect number for your Y-intercept. So that's going to cause a problem. So let's say we want, oh, let's just make it more lines. Hold on. We could guess, right? We could guess that number actually. Let's try that. Let's guess it. See, a lot of this, you guys, is just exploring and trying, and that's what makes you good mathematicians, okay? I don't expect you to be perfect right away, and don't freak out if you're not like, oh my gosh, I don't know exactly what to do. Problem solve, all right? It's a little less than half. So I'm going to say 0.4. So here's what we're going to do. We always start with y equals, oh, just kidding, it won't let me type yet. Y equals the slope 3/7, 3/7, right arrow, x, and it's a positive. We're going to say 1, 2, 3 point, oh, if I'm going this way, it's maybe like 0.6. 3.6, we can try that. And you try it. Did it work? I think it worked. I think if we adjust our Y-intercept just a tad, it'll scoot the line up. So let's try 3.7. See if that makes it better. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be telling us here. Let's move it up a little bit more. There we go. That just looked like it passed better. So that's what you want to do. You want to explore with writing the equations. And, you know, this one you're going downhill. So what does that tell you? It should tell you that your slope is negative. Negative slope means downhill. Positive slope means uphill. So you're going to do the same thing there. Remember, find the pattern. How is it changing each time x is increasing? It's going up by 1.5, which tells us that our line is going to be upward. It's going to be positive. It's going to be going up. So work with that. Same thing here. And then you're matching. Here's where you're going to find. And guys, it's showing you the slope. It's literally showing it to you. This is going up 8/4. Well, 8, oh, remember, it's up or down first. Rise over run. Rise over run. So 8/4 is the same as 2. So you're looking for a slope of 2. Okay? And if it's passing through the y-axis at 0, then that means that it's y equals 2x plus 0. There's no point in putting plus 0 there, right? That's silly. So you're just going to see y equals 2x because it's going through the origin for the y-intercept. Okay? So any of the ones that don't have a constant over here, that don't have a y-intercept listed, that means the y-intercept is 0. It's going through the origin. Okay, so you're just looking for that, any graph that goes through the origin, and then find the correct slope that matches it. And it's rise over run. So your y movement going up or down first, and then your left or right movement for x. So that's that one. And then you had the ice climber. This one looks pretty good. This was homework. So use, the rest of the class time to revise these. This is just more practice of what we just went over. And, enrichment time also, if you need enrichment time, but make sure all of these are done because we are moving on with lesson 2 tonight for homework. You're going to watch a video and you're going to take notes. And so there's one more thing you need to do, and that is you're going to grade your 2-1 reteach page. So I'm going to post that in the videos and answer keys channel, and you're going to grade it, okay, and see how you did. And again, you guys are in class together. I'm sorry that I can't be there, but work together and check in with each other. Say, hey, I don't understand why this is the answer. Can you explain it to me? But just, go. Why am I in Dreambox? Why am I in Dreambox? Why am I in Dreambox? I cannot multitask. I am not good at that. I'm signing into Envision. This is where I'm going to get your answer key for your reteach page. Oh, and make sure you're, I know I assigned it kind of late, but I've been telling you guys for a while, you've got to get 3 Dreambox lessons done each week. So I'm going to be putting those grades in later today for last week. You cannot make them up. You need to just stay on top of it. So if you ever have extra time, please, please, please work in Dreambox. That includes, in class, homework time, or enrichment time. Okay, so I'm going to get this posted in Teams for you so that you can grade your reteach, and then you're going to turn it in. Okay, and hopefully I will be seeing you soon. I'm hoping sooner than Thursday, but we'll see. I'm going to get another COVID test done today, and then I will see, I'll find out if I can come back sooner. All right, be amazing, you guys. Please make sure that you understand now this slope intercept. Rewatch the video if you need to. Rewatch this video as much as you need to and make sense of it. And I will see you soon. Bye, guys.